The field of AI is as broad as the adoption potential for international trade and development, as by extension trade policy and its application. We will discuss the intersection of these areas and the role of the third wave of AI. Autonomous agents and how they can act as a workforce multiplier as Thai industry looks to adopt AI and apply it as business look to extend and expand their businesses beyond the land of the smiles. Ladies and gentlemen, next I would like to invite to the stage Mr. David Roger Mold, Solution Engineering Director and Country CTO for Thailand and Vietnam Salesforce. Ladies and gentlemen, may we have a big round of applause.
สวัสดีครับผู้เกียรติทุกท่าน Your Excellencies, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this time, this opportunity to talk about the potential for AI in international trade and development. As I said, David Mould, I live here in Thailand. I've had the pleasure of calling Thailand my home for the last 21 years, and I work at Salesforce. Salesforce, the CRM company, that's what you all know us as. And that's true. We are the number one CRM company, Gartner Magic Quadrant, 17 years in a row. And if that's all we did, probably wouldn't be interesting enough for me. Luckily, as a business technologist that works in the intersection between business strategy, transformation, process, and the application of technology into that to help you achieve your goals and objectives, we are also a very capable data and AI platform company. And that is the Salesforce I am fortunate enough to work for. I'm going to ground this session a little bit in my Thailand context. So as I said, I've been here 20 years. The Thailand today and the Bangkok of today is unrecognizable from where I landed in 2003. One of the highest mobile penetrations in the region. We went almost cashless overnight during COVID because of the great policies around prompt pay and QR payment systems. We have a vibrant, visible startup community. When I first arrived, it was possibly here, but it was underground. And what that means for us, though, is we have a generational shift. Today's workforce, they want to enter, they want something different, they want something more, and they are rapidly going into startups and micro SMEs. And as a result, we're seeing an explosion in that segment. We also are an aged society. The next step for us is a super aged society like Japan. That has opportunities and constraints. We have people who are coming in and not going into traditional business, and we have people coming out the other end. As a result, that workforce is shrinking in the middle, but the amount of work that still has to get done is still there, and I think this is one of the greatest opportunities for AI to help with the autonomy, the automation, and helping with that productivity uplift. But at the same time, Thailand is strangely the same. I love the scrappiness, the grassroots innovation that Thai people have, the resilience. We saw it during COVID, we see it every day. We love technology, the scale and speed of technology adoption, things like Line, things like ChatGPT, things like mobile phones is amazing. But language continues to be a problem. And that's a problem for two different reasons. We've heard a couple of people talk today about how generative AI will write code for us. Soon, the most popular coding language in the world, it won't be Python, it won't be Java, it won't be C++, it will be English. And that is because a developer will write their intent as an English language prompt into a tool and it will generate the code for them. As a result, we cannot take our foot off the gas. We have to continue to do English language development and upskilling if we want to remain relevant. It is also a challenge because while I love the Thai language, I'm lucky enough to speak, read, and write Thai, it becomes a bit of an obstacle when we start thinking about contracting, documentation. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. The OECD wrote paper number 260, 2022, and it talks about the role of AI in trade, not just the AI enablement of trade, but AI as a tradable commodity in its own right. And we were lucky enough to hear earlier from Amity, a homegrown AI company, and one of my personal missions is to help Thailand build a thriving weightless economy, not just agriculture, not just manufacturing with a highly skilled, low-cost workforce, but products and services that are created, sold, distributed digitally. Business at the speed of light, being sold and delivered through fiber networks domestically and cross-border. But let's think about really some of the opportunities. So we think about logistics. We heard from Joel earlier on how Amazon has done warehouse optimization and how with supply chain data lakes, they can do that for you. This world of machine learning ultimately is still an untapped resource, I think, for much of Thailand. There is a lot of unrealized benefit for us. Warehouse optimization, route optimization. If you go and look at an Amazon warehouse today, it is highly organized. The most profitable, most highly used products are closest to the picking stations. They have robots that go out, they go vertically, horizontally, and you sit there as a human being, and the AI essentially suggests what is the right size carton for you to actually fulfill that order. We've got trade itself, and so we think about trade facilitation, single windows. On average, 20 to 50 different agencies get involved in cross-border trade. All the PGAs, the OGAs, the OGDs, all of these acronyms that are all of the entities, institutions, that help facilitate and make sure that customs delivery compliance is all done. The opportunity for AI-powered single windows is significant, and that's for a different conversation. I'm going to talk about something else. Whether it's image recognition in customs, identifying objects through X-rays, as we would in medical science, and actually working out what that looks like, and all the post-trade settlement and processes that go with that. Trade finance, what that means for us more generally, and obviously if I'd stood here last year, I would be talking about smart contracts and the role of an intermediary as a financial institution working around trade finance and liquidity. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about something slightly different. What I'm going to talk about really is the role of contracting and AI support in contract processing. Okay, so Salesforce, #1 CRM company. And it might sound like we're coming in and talking about AI. We've been doing this for a long time. We established the Salesforce AI Research Institution back 10 years ago, and we have been applying machine learning into what you do every day inside our technology. We've gone into the co-pilot, the generative AI wave, and now we're really entering the third wave. We are pushing new territory with the world of autonomous agents. Everything we see before us has been powered by a data revolution. Data got cheaper, data got bigger. As it got bigger, it got even cheaper, and the economies of scale and the scaling factors we see in the world just meant that that became a virtuous cycle. What that has now enabled us to do is prediction has got cheaper. This is why we've been able to push forward into large machine learning models, because it's so cheap to train these models and have them execute information. And as I said, there is a large unrealized benefit on how we can apply machine learning into things like arbitraging the Forex market. I know I have to put a supplier trade agreement in place, and I know I have to do an order. If I can see that Forex rates are going to be in my benefit, execute that order earlier. Benefit to me, and I make sure that the supply chain is working efficiently for me. That is all possible. Trade route optimization, what are the right products to sell at the right price, what are those signals, predictive. Wave 2, generative, co-pilots. Not just saying decision support systems, we think you should do this, but actually helping you draft and create some of that content. I'm going to talk about wave 3, excuse me, but before that I'm going to jump to the right and talk about artificial general intelligence. Depending on who you talk to, this is already here, it's just around the corner. It might never happen. It should never happen. The idea that an AI is better than humans at everything sounds scary, possibly is. Talk about robotics. We've seen a lot of videos earlier on about robotics. The thing that separates wave 3 from wave 4, you all have one, possibly two. It might be in your pocket. Right now, it might be on the table in front of you. Not the mobile phone, the human hand. The thing that allows you to change its shape, the weight, the pressure you apply, something flat, something thin, something big. The human hand as a service. This is the thing that really separates wave 3 from wave 4. An Amazon fulfillment center, you could say the only reason it employs humans is for this thing that can move through three-dimensional space, make a shape to pick up a golf ball and not drop it, pick up an egg and not crush it. Once the scale economics we see of everything else that's preceded that means that robots get better and cheaper, That potentially has the biggest impact on the human workforce than anything we're going to talk about in AI today. Mustafa Suleyman, formerly of DeepMind, now of Microsoft, in his book, The Coming Wave, talks about an interim state between predictive co-pilots and artificial general intelligence. He talks about artificial useful intelligence. Things that are usable today, AI that is already better than humans in many things. That's what I'm going to talk about when we talk about the third wave. If I have something that is good enough and I put guardrails around it to say, don't just tell me what I could do, don't just help me draft the email or the work order, do that for me. This is what we're talking about in this third wave. This is where AUI makes the best sense for us. And it really is an agent, an artificial agent sits alongside human agents, and the same rules apply. Someone joins your company from day one, you wouldn't have them go and write contracts. You would help them prepare, and then you'd have that thing reviewed. If someone entered your customer service organization, you would allow them to do certain things up to some arbitrary limit, and then you would get it approved and reviewed and executed by a supervisor. This is what we're talking about in here, and you put those guardrails around what these agents can do for you and with you. I'm not going to ask you to read this, all of this. What I want to really impose on you here is a couple of key things. What we have been very deliberate about in Salesforce is making sure that how you use this technology is trusted, eliminates hallucinations, and the reason why we can do that is because it's your data. That data doesn't just sit in Salesforce. It might sit in SAP, in other systems around on the outside. With the data layer we provide, we allow you to either copy that in if you need to, or with zero-copy technology, you're already paying for it somewhere else. Maybe it's in an Amazon S3 storage bucket. You can bring that in, point it, and you can unleash the power of our capability on that data set. Choice. You've heard lots of people talk about ChatGPT. There are other tools out there. Gemini from Google, Claude from Anthropic. What's the right tool for you? I don't know. The point is, you should get to choose what is the right tool for you, for your business, your context. And so we make it possible to choose those tools. If you've already, like an SCB or an Amity or a Vin AI, you've already built your own large language model, bring that in, use it. If you're Typhoon, bring that in. So we allow you to bring your own model, allow you to bring your own data lake, allow you to bring your own technology and make use of it. And then what we're doing is we're allowing that to come up into the things you probably know us for. Sales, marketing, service, the business applications your people use every day. We bundle some of these things together and we create industry-specific versions. Manufacturing, healthcare, insurance, financial services cloud. This is your data, this is your data, and we want you to get the best use from it. What we don't want you to do is go and do it yourself. Buy something, bolt it on, try to work out what that plumbing looks like. We've tried to make it as easy as possible for you to make use of it. I'm going to focus on one key thing here, this trust layer. This is the key to allowing you to use your data successfully and maintain your IP and your secret sauce. Again, very busy. A couple of things to take away. Data, you can use it. Bring it with you. We can access it. Models, you can choose what you want. Bring it in. We talk about, sorry, me Ben what? We talk about zero retention. This is the idea that your data should not be used to make frontier models better. Your data should not be used as a competitive advantage for your competitors. Your data is your data, and you should be able to use it accordingly. We do a lot of that hard work for you. We don't want you to leak PII data to a large language model, so we mask that. We let you take through the bits you need to do the task, we unmask it, and then we do all the other things that you need to do in a world of AI. We help you protect against injection attacks, we help you protect against data leakage, we help you protect against toxicity, i.e. the idea that you say something that is potentially harassment or harmful to the individual. All inside your organization. This is one of the biggest differentiators and why I joined Salesforce. So let's think then about what that really looks for. You've probably been in many of these forums in the past years, and you've had someone like me stand on a stage like this and talk about smart contracts, talk about blockchain. And there's a reason why we do that. There is trillions of dollars of value locked away in all of your traditional contracts today. There is extensive legal and work knowledge and know-how about how your business runs, locked away in contracts and documents. But there is typically a significant resistance to change, because to move to a smart contract technology structure means that you have to rewrite all your existing contracts, and that is painful. So what I'm going to talk about is the smarter processing of traditional contracts using modern AI techniques. Use what LLMs are great at. They are great at processing natural language. They are great at summarization. They are great at quantification. They are great at comparison. How do you use that to help these tools review, parse, generate, draft contracts on your behalf? In Thai language, in English language, in multiple languages. And we'll talk about the scaling benefits to you as a business on what that means to your bottom line. One of the great things, this works on your current data set of all your documents and all your contracts, and because it sits on top of what you already have, you can do a phased deployment of this technology, and you can gradually get the benefits from it. Key benefits: automated contract summarization, that comparison and cross-referencing between contracts I've already sold, regulatory requirements, compliance legislation, cross-border trade agreements, everything I need to know. Quantify it so I can action it, identify risks, look at compliance, and help you move into a world of automated contract processing. So let's then think about what those contracts really are. You want all the good stuff. You want the AI to know about successful contracts, high-value contracts, standard contracts that it can just go and do without really much human intervention. Stuff that's near expiration, stuff that's successfully completed. And you want these AI tools to know about high-performance terms, long-term relationships, dispute-free execution, and what is the language of the contract that allows that to happen. But AI is very clever. If you can find something, typically an AI can find something. So we also need to think about what we don't want the AI to know about. Yes, absolutely, we want AI to learn from these things. Disputed, litigated contracts, contracts that finished early, contracts that were problematic because of compliance issues and enforcement challenges. We want to learn from it, but we don't want to take that and draft it into our new contracts. And there is no AI strategy without a data strategy. Data governance, data quality is where we need to be focusing our time on. And this is about data governance and data quality. We want the good quality contracts, and we don't want the bad quality contracts. The other thing we need to think about is the template library. What are those master agreements? What is the master trade agreement between Thailand or the ASEAN bloc and New Zealand, Chile, Canada? How do we use that? What are the standard terms for us? What are the special conditions that our partners and our customers want from us? And we also need to think about what does that mean for us as a sector, what does that mean from a regulatory framework, and what does that mean from market statements and standards. And now we get into a value chain where we go, we might do this as a human. We have people today looking at terms. Why wouldn't I have a machine do that? It's very good at it. Do it at a scale point. Risk analysis, compliance checks, performance analysis. We can move to a world where AI enables us to do this as an active contract management process. We take this base templates, we take all those standard terms and that clause library, and we allow an AI to generate that for us. In terms of risk and obligations, we can have that AI monitoring those contracts as they get executed. And because AI is really good at suggesting things, it can also detect there's a potential risk here, and therefore we can suggest some risk issue mitigation strategies. This is the world we're heading towards. But let's try and, as best we can, put some numbers around it. And we can discuss these numbers up and down. What I want you to focus on is the quantum of the benefit, and I think that tracks proportionately with what we're going to talk about. So traditional processing of contracts. There is an HR cost with that. We need an international counsel, we need a local counsel, We need some translators, we need some contract compliance people, we need some contract process administrators. There is an ongoing cost with that, and over 3 years, maybe $950,000. Now we turn that into an AI-supported contracting processing system. There are some startup costs. What is the right LLM? How do we integrate it with our data sets? There are still HR costs. I am not saying here that by redesigning some of these processes, we eliminate the people completely. This is about multiplying, amplifying human intention and human effort to make it better, faster, cheaper, and actually fundamentally lifting people out of burden, lifting people out of low-value, repetitive tasks, and making our jobs more rewarding. We're changing the task, we're not eliminating the role. So there are some ongoing HR costs, and then there, of course, as any system, there are ongoing operational costs. Over 3 years, probably about $800,000. There are additional benefits, though. We're here talking about international trade, time to market improvement. By using AI, we potentially have a 5x impact on contract processing time, from 15 days to something like 3. Translation time becomes near instantaneous, 10 days to 1 or less. Compliance checks, faster, typically 7 days to 1, because AI is really good at looking at patterns, and it's really, really good at actually comparing those things and looking at signals and trending information and presenting to that as in a way that we can deal with it and make a judgment call. Risk reduction. In the 2022 report from OECD, paper number 260, it talks about 2 main things: false hopes and mismeasurement. So what I'm suggesting is, by doing it in a phased way, we eliminate some of those false hopes because we're working on an incremental delivery of that benefit. And by looking at the things that make sense for us to track, we can actually get that benefit. So a reduction in translation errors. Humans are fallible. We get tired, we get distracted, we get sick, we get hungry, we make mistakes. Feeding these kind of documents, this structured, semi-structured, unstructured information consistently into a machine, I believe we can reduce those translation errors by 90%. Similarly, compliance issues, things we missed, things we misinterpreted, 75% reduction. And all of that really comes down to less disputes in our contracts, a higher rate of successful completion. That probably looks like 3.5 million baht over 3 years. Hold on. Okay. Think about scalability benefits. We're here to talk about international trade. I am a Thai company operating domestically. I want to enter a new market. We've already got rid of the language challenge, right? We now do this through machine translation. So what does it really look like then to enter a new market? If we think about that traditional model, to enter a new market, we need people who understand that language to provide translation services. We need people who understand the legal framework of the country we're looking to trade with, and that typically looks like a pretty fixed cost. Every new market, typically we need that same team of lawyers and translators and contract administrators. So every new market, 10 million baht roughly. With an AI-assisted model, finally, we have an opportunity as a marginal cost to enter new markets. And because of the economies of scale we get with any technology, that will get cheaper every single time. The technology gets better, the cost gets lower, and we just get better at it. Now I want to go from, say, contracting business between Thailand and Cambodia, and now I want to enter South Korea. All I now have to do is find a large language model that's really good at Korean, and I just put that into my contract processing system. So let's put that into some hard numbers around return on investment. I'm going to look at a single market over 3 years. To enter a new market, I think about those cost savings in people. I think about those additional benefits in terms of scalability. And I think about total revenue, therefore, top line, bottom line savings, and therefore and the investment I have to make to do that. ROI, somewhere around the 200%. 18 months to payback period. Now I want to enter 3 markets. Those scaling factors means that they kick in and they amplify, and now I'm looking at something like 530-something% ROI. This is how Thai companies can break into new markets. And this is true of our traditional manufacturing base and agriculture base, it's also true of the likes of Amity in the weightless economy. They still have to write contracts. They might be delivering those things digitally, but the contracting framework and the legislative framework is still the same. So this is where we can finally actually be the rightful place that Thailand, I think, has on the ASEAN and the world stage. So I think by now, we hope, we see that the potential is here. The real hardline benefits are here. But how do we do that responsibly? In 2019, the OECD wrote some AI principles. We heard them earlier. Inclusive growth, human rights, transparency and explainability, robustness, accountability. Every strategy house, every consultancy, every big tech company, and increasingly every institution has a form of these principles. We might call it trusted, we might call it responsible, we might call it ethical. There are principles that govern how we should think about applying AI. Give you an example. This is from Deloitte, pretty comprehensive. You will see the common terms on here that we all see everywhere we go. Interpretable, justifiable, safe. And of course, as a big tech company, Salesforce, we also have our own trusted AI principles. And actually, if I do the mapping, it actually looks quite similar to the OECD, funnily enough. And they all come from a similar root, the ASEAN conference, and some of the things that we've seen. We talk about inclusive AI as being a benefit to not just the people that create the AI technology, but everybody that is impacted by it. We talk about fairness. And AI should not differentiate or limit other people's benefit from that because of some inherent bias in the training data. We talk about transparency and explainability. Why did the tool suggest that outcome for me? What is it about the data you have about me? What is it about the policies that you have in your company that means that the outcome was that? And we should be able to describe that to the people who are impacted. We talk about accountability. For us, that means listening to stakeholders like yourself. It means listening to institutions and industry and aligning what we do and how we think about AI and making that work for you. A quick fire QR code session. Get your phones out ready. It's important because there are many, many AI frameworks out there. Choice is important. Informed decision-making is important. I don't know what the right AI framework is for you. The point is you have to have one. It needs to be at the highest level of your organization, a board-level agenda, a committee on how you use AI. The framework that you apply really determines how fast you go, how slow you go, because this is the only way we can balance the two things I hear about when I talk with most executives today. FOMO, fear of missing out. My peers doing it, my competitors, I have to use AI. I have to make sure I don't lose that competitive advantage. And fogey, fear of getting in. What if we do it and we get it wrong? Reputational risk, safety issues. The only way we can make those judgment calls is we have a framework to measure our choices against. So all of you have to take one, take a few, take many, build your own, but it needs to be an agenda. And finally, if you'd like to have a conversation with us about what AI means for you, come and find me on LinkedIn. Happy to talk. We come and talk to you, talk about it, what it means for you, get your hands on it, try it out, so you are informed and you can make good decisions. With that, I will take my two superpowers, I will put them together and say, Korpon Kap. Thank you for the time. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much, Mr. David Rodramol, for the insight of Southeast Asian markets. That was a wonderful talk and what a presentation. I'm pretty sure a lot of everybody actually scanned the QR code so they can get more information and be a part of his event soon.